Uh, Good morning. Welcome to our webinar, the first one for 2023 fall semester. And it's in the Nebraska Department of Education, NILA, Nebraska International Language Association, and CLTA K-12. It's Chinese Language Teacher Association, Small Interest Group, K-12. And we co-host this webinar, and we are very honored to be able to invite William Lee as our first guest speaker. As we all know, he's the ACTFL Teacher of the Year. The first time I met him was at ACTFL last year. I was moved to tears when he, by his speech. We are all excited. I mean, all the teachers, Chinese teachers, we sit together. I mean, a whole group of teachers. We are all crying. Thank you so much for joining us, William Lee. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Daniel Zoucher is our, I think is Vice President, right? Nebraska.
President-elect.
President-elect, I'm sorry. And she is presenting Nebraska International Language Association. Thank you for co-hosting this webinar. And now, please, William, take it away.
Good morning, 早上好. Hello, 早安. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good, very good.
Very good.
Excited for your speech. Yeah.
Thank you for joining me this morning. I know it's bright and early, and I know some of you guys have started school already, and some of you guys are still enjoying your summer. My name is William Lee. I'm a Latin teacher. I'm starting a new journey this year at Alamo Heights High School and Junior School. I just started my first week of school. I feel like I've been in session forever though, since I've had to do 2 weeks of new high training and in service, and so it feels like I've been here forever. But thank you for having me. It's a great honor to be here with such wonderful educators such as yourselves.
让我会不会吵到你？
好，你好。
你拿个那个耳塞嘛，我这有耳塞，你过来。
So this morning, my presentation is called UTILITAS TECHNOLOGIAE OMNIBUS, which is the use of technology for all. And I know some of you guys are following along, and some of you guys would like to watch the presentation later. And so if you would like to follow along, then use the QR code to follow the presentation, or you can use the tiny URL, tinyurl.com/81923NEB for August 19th, 2023, Nebraska. And also, if you have the opportunity, please go ahead and download this app called Goose Chase from your app store. It only works on your phone, either an Apple or an Android, if you can find it on the App Store. And we'll be using this to do a technology activity a little bit later. And I'll also go ahead and put the link to the presentation in the chat as well, since some of you guys don't have your devices on your person. And I'm not sure what just happened. Okay, there you go. Okay. And so this is the goal for today's lesson and webinar. We are going to be exploring some technology tools that you may have to enhance the students' learning experience in world language classrooms. And we're also going to be looking at creating some sample lessons that you can take with you using Goose Chase, so that you can implement that in your classroom right away. And so as the new year begins, Noah's Anos and Kipiat, let the new year begin, right? And I always feel like so excited the first week of school, you know, Eamus, as I say, let's go, or fair it, bring it, right? We're all very excited to get the new school year started. But let me tell you, there's nothing like feeling tired at the end of the first week of school. And I don't know about you guys, but I really do try to get to know the kids really well by the end of the first week of school. But man, I've not taught this new schedule at my old school for the past 20 years. I saw my kids every day. And now with this new job, I'm at the junior school every day. I see my kids every day, but then when I get to high school, they're on block scheduling. And so, you know, I see them every other day and I can really feel the difference. And so I have to like dig back into my memory since I haven't done this in 20 years, teaching block scheduling. And so for those of you who are on block, I may have to reach out to you guys and ask for some advice. But like I said, I've already seen a difference. You know, I know my kids pretty well by now at the junior school. I know their faces and names, whereas at the high school, especially some of my level 1 classes when I have 28, 30, 32 in there, man, seeing them every other day, I still cannot like match their faces to the names. So I just have to do a better job at it. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to take something away from today's lesson. But again, always remember to take care of yourselves, because if you don't take care of yourselves, you're not going to be able to have anything to give to your students. And so today, I mean, this is one of the beauties of a webinar, right? You don't have to sit in front of the computer all the time. If you need to take a bathroom break, if you need to take a sip of coffee, please feel free to do so. You know, it's perfectly okay. And again, hopefully you'll be able to engage and be an active listener and kind of think about things, right, as you process the information. But as I always tell the people, you know, when people tell you think outside the box, I want you to think like there's no box. Why confine your thinking to the box, right? There's no box. You can be as creative as you want. So always keep an open mind about things. And so for the 21st century classroom, these are the technology tools hopefully you have encountered during your COVID days, but this is what I call our superpower that we got from Corona teaching, since we had to pivot and do all these things. And I feel like as we're continuing on, going back to the classroom, some of these things we can take with us and utilize them to enhance the students' learning experience. I always say to use technology. I don't want to use technology just for technology's sake, but you want to use technology so that you can enhance the students' learning experience. And so you always want to make sure that they get something out of it and not just for show. And so some of these things that we're going to be looking at, I'm fairly certain most people know all these formative assessment tools already, like Bluekit, Gimkit, Kahoot, quizzes, word wall. So I'm not going to talk about those a whole lot. But for digital breakout EDU and Goose Chase, I think we'll spend some time exploring these activities. And for Goose Chase, I like for us to sit down and create some lessons so that you can take them with you, so that you can have something ready to go. And so let me go ahead and click that off. Okay. Again, I'm having to remember how to do some of these things as well. since we haven't been doing Zoom teaching for a while. But one of the things that you can use for formative assessments called Plickers, and this is something where you can do this very easily and you can adapt it to a classroom where you don't have technology as well. But basically it's a tool. As you can see, it has different sides on the cards, and it is an app that you can download from any app store on Apple, Android, and you can ask questions and the students can respond by holding up the cards on the side. And so this is what it looks like in a classroom.
Got it. Okay. Somebody just got one wrong.
Mine hasn't been checked.
Okay. So actually, a couple people. I have 3.
I still haven't done it. Is that a, oh wait, you still haven't done it.
There you go. Okay.
Was it wrong?
So then, guys, how many Camille were there? 3. 3. Okay. That's right. All right. So now let's do a language question, since you do have to know Latin. Okay. So let me scroll this up a little bit so you can kind of see the questions. You need to give me the translation for "Confesse sum o dormire valem." I'll give you a few seconds.
And so that's what the classroom looks like when we have a presentation on Plickr. So I'm walking around the room, I have my iPad, I'm kind of scanning the cards, and so it's immediate feedback where I can see the students when their response is correct. I see a green dot on my screen so that they know, and I can also see incorrect responses, which is a red colored marker on the card. And so you can again walk around the room and kind of see for immediate feedback, and that way you can kind of see which students are doing well, which students aren't doing well, and you can certainly kind of look at that and use that to enhance your learning. If you don't have Plickers, you can certainly do this very easily by cutting a card and just put A, B, C, D on each corner, and then just have them turn the card and raise the card so that you can get some immediate feedback. So I'm just kind of curious if you could put in the chat or raise your hand or use reaction, because I like to get audience interaction on these presentations and webinars. Go ahead and indicate somehow that if you have used Plickers or not. So again, if you use the emoji icon, let's do clap icon. If you've used Plickers before, so Alicia loves Plickers. Excellent, excellent. So it's a fast and easy way to kind of do a formative assessment. So, okay. Well, hopefully you'll explore something. You'll have time to kind of explore. I know Crystal put the link in the chat to get Plickers, and so if you like, click on that and see if you can get more information about it. But yes, so as well with Plickers, so the cell phones, I believe so, but it's better on the iPad, because you can actually look at that big screen. For me, an iPad or a tablet, it's better just so that you can kind of walk around and it's an instant thing. So yes. All right. And I'm also a big fan of students showing me their proficiency in whatever chosen language it is in various forms, because again, it doesn't have to be a translation or reading tasks, right? You want them to demonstrate proficiency in different ways. And so I love for them to show me their understanding of the stories that they've read in different ways. And so I like using an app called Strip Designer to show illustrations, for them to create illustrations. And Strip Designer is one of my personal favorite because they can insert themselves into the comic strips that they are creating. And so you can, as you can see, they can walk around the classroom, they can go into different parts of school, they can dress up, take pictures, and then they come back and utilize those pictures and create the comic strips to show that they understood what's happening in the stories. And so this is one of the Latin 1 stories that the students had to do to show me that they understood the different parts. And then this is one of those similar stories. In Latin, we do a lot of reading and comprehending and not necessarily translating, but they're getting their input from the stories that they read. And so this is another story that they read about a Roman wedding. And so again, they have fun, right? They get involved, they get dressed up, they put on these costumes, and we want to make sure to get the kids involved, because that's how, nowadays they don't have the social skills like previous students that we had before the pandemic. And so the more interaction that you can provide for the students, for them to socialize, interact with each other, and do a lot of team building, it's going to be better for their mental health as well. And so this is, again, one of my favorite apps. You can get it on any tablets, Google or Apple. Now, there's also Storyboard That, where you can actually insert pictures and like you can design your own comic, but the only bad thing is that you can't get the students involved and take pictures and have that instantaneous, upload into a Google Drive or something like that, and then put the pictures together. But this is something that they can do on their Chromebooks as well. So just kind of curious, how many of you guys have used either Storyboard That or Plickers, sorry, not Plickers, but Strip Designer to create illustration? Again, use the clappy hand emoji, or just indicate in the chat. Yes, Storyboard That. The daily routines, absolutely. And you can find lots of different ways to using that. Yes, Strip Designer. I will say though, it used to be a free app, but now I think they're charging, and so you might need to, again, it's not expensive. I think it's just a couple of dollars, but make sure you check with your school district and see if they have grant opportunities and funding opportunities to purchase these. But I have a classroom set of devices for the students, and so I only have it on 5 tablets, and you can divide them into groups and just send them around the classroom or different parts of school to do that. And same thing with Goose Chase, which we'll see a little bit later. Again, going back to demonstrating proficiency in the world language classroom, I also love for students to create trailers to demonstrate understanding. And so this is done via iMovie. And so that's one of the Latin 3 classes demonstrating that they have read the story, understood what they have read. And also you can do this in some of the upper level classes as well. So let me go to the next slide. And so for my AP class, if you're familiar with the AP Latin curriculum, they have to read the works of Julius Caesar and also Virgil in the original, and they have to be able to analyze. And one of the differences is that it's more similar to the Spanish literature AP test, where they have to actually, write rhetorical analysis and whatnot, but not in the target language. And so they also have to read the different parts in English that they don't get to read in class. And so to save time, sometimes I'll assign these assignments to go, okay, so you have shown me that you have read the required English reading. And so this is a trailer that the students made. So that's a section of the required English reading where they had to read about human sacrifices and the practice of the ancient Druids in Gaul. And so, yeah, like it's a lot of interesting things, and you want to liven things up, right? You don't just want to sit there and go, okay, let's conjugate a verb, or let's do this and do that. And so you definitely want to make sure you can utilize technology so that you can reach all learners. And I noticed someone enabling closed caption earlier, and nowadays with PowerPoint, with Google Slide, you can turn that on very easily so that you can reach those who perhaps need more visual aid in the presentations. And so definitely you want to utilize technology tools as much as you can. And so now, raise your hand if you're familiar with a digital breakout room. Again, use the emojis, use the hands. And so there are a few that I curated. And so we have a French one, I have 2 Spanish one. I also have one that I created with Latin, and I'll share them with you, and you can choose whichever one it is you want to use. I will put the links in the chat so that you are able to choose your own, but I'll leave this on the screen for a little bit while I grab that link and copying and pasting for y'all. So this is going to be the French one. And this is the Latin one. And then I have 2 for Spanish. I was not able to put one together for Chinese, but it's fairly easy to create the breakout room EDU stuff. And so I can kind of show you how to create tasks. And then we can explore and perhaps create some for our first day of school. But you can kind of see how, let me see, make sure. Okay. So those are the breakout rooms for Spanish. And so I will share with you what it looks like. And so let me do a new share. Okay, and so here's the French version of it. And so you can start the game. There's a game story. As you can see, they have to navigate and try to solve the puzzle. And so you can click on the immersive reader. It's going to read for you. And then you can go back to the game hint. And so you can click on each lock and solve it if it's created as a non-sequential lock, or you can create it in such a way that they have to make sure you solve one lock before you go to the next one. So I'm not sure there's a template, but I can show you how to create one as well. Yes, there are 30 Chinese teachers, absolutely. And so let me show you the Latin one. And I can go into the account. Actually, you know what? I will just go into the account. And I'll sign up as an educator. You can sign up your account that way. And so I think I still have my account. So let's log in, educator. Do Google. And let's see. And so it looks like I got to sign up for my new account, which is fine. I'll just put 12th grade. Yes, it is. It is like a breakout. It is an escape room, except it's a digital one. And of course, they don't have Latin as a subject. Fine. I'll just choose language arts. And then save preferences. And so again, you can search and see. So there are a few, right? So there's one right here that you can use. And it tells you the lock solutions and whatnot. And so you can use that and make a copy of it. And then you can assign it and play the game. So you can view in your games and you can play it. Or again, you can create a game. And so I'm going to say sample breakout room. And so you always want to create a story. I always try to come up with something different. That, for example, the Latin one, they had to figure out who did this and who did that. And then you can then create a lock. And so I'm going to create a non-sequential, and then the background image, that's fine. And now I want to create a lock. And so you have either a text lock, or number lock, or directional lock, or shape lock, or color lock. And so we can do a text lock. And so this will be something like, okay, let's just say, what is the Latin word? And so you can certainly say, what is the Chinese word for whatever? So what is the Latin word for sword? And then the code is going to be Gladius. And then you click on add lock once you're done, and you can give them a text to give hints. The Latin word for sword starts with the letter G. Or give them a hint or something like that, right? And then
Sorry, 我那个 Zoom 那个耳机 doesn't work. Okay.
and then we can add lock. And so you can now add a number lock if you want. And so again, you can create something in Chinese, continue with the storyline, and then you can give them a clue. You can record a video to give them the clue. You can do number combination like this. You can say in your target language, this is, you know, what you get when you have 3 plus 2, or this is, you know, the first number is what you get with 3 plus 2. The second number is what you get with 3 times 2. And so they had to put in 5, they had to put in 6 in order to open the lock. But you can do a lot of things with this in your target language. But yes, make sure you do check your schools for a lot of these things and see if they allow these. And so for Chinese, the video will be probably will be the easiest for the hint. And then you can ask them for like the numbers in here. Unfortunately, I do not know of a way to insert Chinese characters, but you can ask them to sequence things. You can ask them to, you know, again, put numbers, but give them the instructions in video, like tell them, okay, again, in your target language, right? 第一个号码是3加2，第二个号码是4加2 ，whatever, right? And then they can, once they get to that log, they can look at the video and they can actually see it. So questions about this digital breakout room stuff.
Please don't forget to put your questions in the chat so that we can keep track of them if there are multiple questions that way, and we'll try to get them all answered today.
Yes. So the question is, this is free or need to pay? You can have a freebie, and it's limited. You can only have so many digital breakout EDU kids. But if you do pay for the account, you can have unlimited number of kits that you can create. So the free one for educators, I believe the limit is 10. Okay, any other questions about Breakout EDU? And again, because of the video option, you do have lots of versatility to give them guidance and create logs. And I find that it's easier for me to build the logs as I kind of go along. But if you are one of those people who need to think out everything, then it may be a good idea to kind of write it on paper or create a flow chart to do the logs first, and then then it'll be easier to go in and then create those different logs. And so again, let me paste the links to some of these logs again, the Breakout EDU, so that you can play with them. Here's a French one, here's Latin one, so you can kind of see what the capabilities are. Here's the Spanish one, and here's another Spanish one. Okay. Another tool that I like to use is Goose Chase. And this is what we'll be spending our time on today to create an activity that you can take with you. And so this is what it's a digital scavenger hunt platform. And so this is what a class may look like doing a Goose Chase activity.
In response to this one, need to address at least 2 minutes. Okay, so basically we have to.
So yeah, look like it normalized.
This is like a normal junior day.
Yeah.
I just walked through. I walked through one back.
Actually, I don't even have to say anything. When he walks back, walks through. And I like it's loud.
Maggie.
Okay. And then just say that. Look at the.
And as you can see, I actually have the activity posted while they're doing the scavenger hunt, and so that I can show them what I see on the screen. And so this is one of the types of questions. You can use picture to show understanding. So they have to take a picture to show me that they understood, or they can identify certain grammatical form. So this is a question, the prompt. You have to, after reading lines 1 through 2, film one of your team members talking about Plotin as a character and give 3 details. And so this is a student being filmed by her partner talking about those characters.
Okay. She's the wife of Barbillas. She's a peaceful and calm lady, and she's satisfied staying home. Okay.
And so you can also use this as an assessment tool. So the task in line 4, for an example of an apples of absolute, film a group member reading out loud in Latin, and then they have to translate it.
Auditis precibus meis, with my prayers having been heard. Auditis precibus.
And then you can also ask them to make inferences as well.
Helvidius is going to Paula's house to listen in on what she's saying. He's standing motionless in the trees because he's trying to make sure Paula is unaware of his presence so he can eavesdrop. Helvidius.
And so let's play. I'm going to go back and give you the code. So if you didn't get the opportunity to download Goose Chase, again, you do need to do it on the phone. So either your iPhone or your Google phone, and just look for Goose Chase. And then when you download it, you'll be able to play. And so I have one for Spanish and also have one for first day activity, because I like for the students to get to know each other and to kind of go around the school, especially when they're new to the school, like a lot of my Latin ones are, they're freshmen. And so, you know, I want to get them familiar with the school setting. And so you can set them to do different tasks. Again, kind of do a show of hands. Let's use the heart emoji this time. How many of you guys have used Goose Chase before or have heard Goose Chase? Okay, so Kim has, excellent. Alicia, excellent. Nice. So Crystal, nicely done. So I will go ahead and again put the two Goose Chase codes into the chat. So the first one's for Spanish. And again, I just chose the Spanish language activity just so that as an example, but you can certainly do different things. The first day activity for me, that's the code. And so I can go and see how everyone's doing by looking at my activities. And so let's see. Look at the Goose Chase one. So let's see who's all participating. I'm gonna move this tab over to the screen. Okay, and so I can look at activity feeds, and no one has started. No one has joined the activity. Oh, darn. So let me look and see if someone has joined the first day scavenger hunt. No, okay. Bummer. So I'll give you a few minutes to see if you have time to join. And I will show you in the meantime some of the videos from some of these older activities so that you can kind of get an idea of what you can do with them. And so the missions define the Latin adjective. They have to define those words. That's a mission. Define the adjective I gear. Take a picture of everyone in the group pointing to the place. We can pick up an iteratio contract, which is my version of the reassessment contract. So turning tray, acting it out. So again, this is something you can get them to do so that they can familiarize themselves with the classroom setting. Or again, I'd love for them to go meet the administrators if they're new to the school. This is Latin 3, and so this is one of those things I just have them do in case they need to, they're new to our campus. And so it should be, you should be able to join individually. Gooshake's created disabled player profile creation. I'm fairly certain both of those experiences are set so that you can join as a solo. Yeah, it just says you can join solo. Oh, that's why. Okay, so try that. I did not open that option. I did not click on the option. So hopefully that has been fixed. So if you want to refresh it and see this other one, I'm fairly certain I had it set. Yep, I did. So, oh, look at that. So we do have one in here. And again, you can look at the leadership board. So let's go back to the one we're looking at. And so you can kind of see some of the submissions and the activity feed. And so they have to take a picture where they can pick up the contract for makeup work. And you can either assess them right there and provide positive feedback or negative feedback. Like I can give them 100 bonus points for great job, good smile, whatever, and add the bonus. Or you can do something like a who minus 100 points. Unfortunately, that's incorrect, or that's not the right response. And then you can take points away, and so that you can actually create a ranking that way. And so you can kind of see the leadership board. Again, activity feed. So some of them had a good time wearing the helmet, right? And they had to translate.
All right. Amici ad urbem festinavierunt.
So you can kind of see all those things, what it looks like. And let's look in the chat and see if there are any questions.
There are just a couple. One of the questions was, in this, is every activity you created stored in your account permanently?
It can be, yes, if you have a paid account. It can be, and you can duplicate your experiences. So for example, and hopefully you guys can still see this. I think you can. I see the little green border around my screen. So, but all these activities, you can just go to duplicate experience, and I can just make a new one like that, and I can go in and edit and do missions and add missions. And you can add a mission, you can click on pre-made mission and go into the mission bank if you want to. And so let's see what it will be like to create your own missions. So I'm going to now walk you through, and then we'll create some missions on our own. And so click on New Experience. And I always strongly advise for you to add a photo so that you can find the mission or help your students find the mission. And so that's a picture I downloaded. So let's do the Nebraska International Language Association's logo on here. And this will be my sample lesson. And you can provide a description if you like. So this is a sample lesson for my world language classroom. And then you can click on save. And then you can build your mission. You can provide a script if you want. If you have a paid account, you can do branding. So let's go back to mission. So I'm going to add a mission. Oh, let's see. And you can choose if you want for it to be a photo or video mission, if you want to have a text mission, or if you want to have a GPS mission, because the GPS mission, it can actually, if you want to do it on the weekend, if you want to do it as a Chinese club activity, or a Spanish club activity, or Latin club, or French club, or something where you want them to go around different places and take pictures and submitting them and uploading them, you can provide them with directions in your target language and ask them to go find this and do this and take a picture. You can enable the GPS mission that way. And so I'm going to do a video mission. And for the naming convention, the mission name, if you want for them to do things sequentially, I'll try to do them sequentially. Or you can just name them if you don't care about putting them in sequence order. I always try to put things in sequence order. They can sort them by point values if they want to, but this will be something like comprehension. And so this is a task that they have to do. Film one of your group members, demonstrate that they understand what the sentence poeta versum recitat means. And you can make it so that it could be both photos or videos, or it can make it so that it's only photos only or videos only. And so for this one, since I asked them that they have to act it out, basically, that they have to do videos only. And so if you want them to not go to Google Images and whatever, download movie clips or images, you can say live captions only. If you do want to allow them the option of being able to download graphics and then uploading them for the completion of the mission, you can certainly enable the live capture and library part. But for this one, I just want it live capture only, and I'm going to make it 400 points, and then I'm going to save it. And that's easy peasy. As you can see, you can just put it up really quickly. Again, you can do pre-made missions. I'm going to add another mission, and this time I'm going to do a text mission. And you can ask them to do something like, what is the meaning of the, oh, actually, I'm going to do that. That's the name definition. And so again, you can do the target language. So what is the meaning of the Latin word gladius? And let's see if y'all were paying attention from earlier. If you did, you know that it is the word for sword. And so again, one of the good things is that this is not case sensitive, unlike some other platforms where, you know, things like case sensitive and you have to type in all bunch of answers to, you know, anticipate what the students will put in. This is not case sensitive. And so you can just type in sort and then it will grade it by itself. And so if they get it right, then they get the points. If they don't, then they don't get the points. And you can, again, adjust the point values as well. In fact, you can create your own. It doesn't have to be 400 points or 500 points or 600 points or 1,000 points. It could just be all by themselves. And then you can show the feed if you want, but this is where I want to hide in feed because I don't want the students to see each other, like other people's answers. And so this is one of those where I say hide in feed. And then again, you can do lots of things with them. And so that'll be, as you can see, because of my naming convention, they're now in order. They don't have to do them in order. It's just for me to, okay, so I need to, this is question 1, this is question 2, so on and so forth. Okay. And I'm going to make this something silly. Selfie time. Something like that, right? And of course, you can type this in your target language. And let's make this 1,000 points. Actually, you know what? I will make this 5,000 points or 2,000 points. Yay. Okay. And then save changes. And so as you can see, you can see it that way. All right, and then I can sort them by point value, alphabetical, random, however you want for the missions to appear on your end. And then for participants, you can get a free account as an educator. And you can do teams of, you can pre-create teams, you can create up to 5 teams. And as far as allowing them to do this as individuals, I believe that the limit is 10. And so what you can do is you can sort them into teams, because that way you only have to have 1 device per group and they can do this easily. You can pre-create teams if you like, or you can allow the participants to create their own teams. And so I usually in the classroom, I'll not let them create their own teams. I like to do things randomly. And so when I create teams, I use my target language. And so I do things like Aquila, Team Eagle, and then I select a photo, and then I will find Aquila. I believe I have downloaded that before. And that way they can identify themselves, right? And then you can then print them out as they come into the room. You just have them draw the paper or the stick, whatever, to see which team that they have been randomly assigned to. And so I think I have Leo as one of the pictures as well. And so look at that. Now I'm in the right folder. And so now they're Team Lion. So you can create these teams, and then they can all be sorted into teams. And then when they sign up, when you start the activity, they'll see this join code, and then they can just start. So questions on how to create the missions.
There was one question from Alicia. Are there certain types of questions that students seem to enjoy more than others?
So I think anytime when they film each other explaining things, they do enjoy that. I also find that because for the scavenger hunt, when I have them go find pictures around school to take or to actually talk to the principal. If they're freshmen, they can sometimes be really shy, of course, but they do enjoy going to different places outside of classroom so that you can kind of look at those and get them up and about. So, and I know y'all have been sitting for a long time now, and I should have done this much earlier, but again, I'm just sitting here and talking, sometimes without realizing. And so like, just stand up and stretch. You do want to make sure now that you're back in the classroom, you want to make sure you give them brain breaks. And so like every 15 minutes, get them stand up, stretch, you know, and give them these brain breaks so that they don't have to be thinking all the time. They don't have to be on all the time. And again, as we are getting back into the classroom and working with the students, they're a little different, right, because of the pandemic. And so they definitely need more time to process information. And so giving them these brain breaks is really refreshing. You can have them, you know, do yoga pose. You can have them just take deep breath, do breathing exercises. It doesn't have to be long breaks, right? Like 30 seconds, a minute, something. Walk around the room, shake hands, stretch, whatever. And then have them then go back and get engaged. So sorry, I'm not doing best practices right now. I should have had you guys like stand up and stretch a long time ago. And so how many of you guys have been able to download Goose Chase and participate? A few, okay. And again, if you go to Goosechase edu, let me go to new share.
There was also another question. If you were creating a Goose Chase, you can go to the website, but in order to have people join, they do need like their phones, correct?
Correct. To participate, they need to have their phones, but to create activity, you can use Chromebooks, you can use your Macs, your PCs. Absolutely. And so again, I'm going to actually log out so you can kind of see what it looks like. And so again, for pricing, here is they have special pricing for K through 12 educators. And again, if you do the educator basic, you can have 5 teams, right? Again, up to 5 mobile devices per team, and you can have 1 live experience, and you can have 1 activity at a time. For Educator Plus, they just upped the price. It used to be $65. As you can see, it is now a lot more expensive. Like inflation is real, but you can now have up to 10 teams and 40 students individually. And so for Educator Basic Day, because you can see they also changed it so that it's no longer 5 teams or 10 individuals. So it's only team mode only. But for the Educator Plus, you can have unlimited live experiences, as in you can have multiple tasks or missions going on at the same time. So the question is, can students use their Chromebooks? Unfortunately, Goose Chase is not a Chromebook-based app. So you can use Chromebooks to create activities, but you cannot, like the students won't be able to go around and use Chromebooks to participate. So they have to have a mobile device. And again, if you are at a campus where the use of cell phones is not allowed, which is, again, fairly normal, then you can have tablets. See if you have tablets you can check out from your technology department. Like I said, I have a class set of tablets. And well, I did have a class set of tablets at my previous school. The new school, I don't have a class set of tablets, but I can check them out from the library if I need them, and I have. So that's an excellent question. And yes, absolutely. You can certainly make it a homework assignment outside of school. But it's something different, something interesting, again, to demonstrate proficiency in the world language classroom. It doesn't have to be right there on the spot, right? Like it could be outside of class. It could be some authentic real world experience, like you can ask them to go to a restaurant and film themselves ordering something. So absolutely. And again, once you have created an account, you can log in and then again, do new experiences. Yes. To involve families, absolutely. Something short for them to do. Okay. So questions about Goose Chase.
Oh, I did actually have a question because when we do it with students need to take their photos. Do we need, in some schools, do we need to ask permission from parents, or it's just for school, for class use?
So for me, so first of all, the ones I have shown y'all, those students have graduated. They're almost 20, 21 now. And so I did have permission. But for me, yes, the way our school works is that I cannot use them on social media without the student's permission. But since I am just using it for me, for my classroom, and I'm grading, it's not an issue. So it's always check the permissions if you are going to share on social media. And so, yeah, since we're recording the session, I'm appreciative that you asked. No, those students have graduated. So, but that does remind me that I do have some videos of students from this week. And so we may have to rethink, like we may have to put little faces and stuff when we edit the videos out.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay. And so hopefully you have had some opportunity to create Goose Chase already, or sign up for an account and you can create them later. Some other technology-based formative assessment tools, of course. As I've mentioned, you're familiar with these: Quizlet, Bluecat, Gimkit, Kahoot, and Word And so on my presentation, if you're following along, all the ones with these links, you can click on it so they can kind of either get to an activity or videos of an activity. And now, the buzzword for technology today, of course, is ChatGPT and AI. So I'm just kind of curious, how many of you guys have explored ChatGPT and AI? And so raise your hand or thumbs up in the chat room if you've done it before. Okay. So I have explored it, and I'll say that I haven't explored it much. but I can see how beneficial it is for educators. I think we definitely, it's not going to go away. And so we need to definitely find a way to incorporate ChatGPT and AI in our classroom instructions, and maybe use this as an opportunity to make sure students are using this tool, this really powerful tool, in an ethical manner, right? Because we want to make sure we model good behavior for them. Also, I think that it definitely requires for us to do some rethinking, because we need to be able to come up with new ways of viewing things in our world language instructions, so that students can't just use AI and ask for answers that way. Like, so maybe like ask them to, okay, here's a passage, here's some scenarios, actually explain, come up with their explanation, instead of asking for what the right answer is, but work on the process itself. And so for those of you who are not familiar with ChatGPT, it's an artificial intelligence tool. You don't have to pay for it, because it can have some simple tasks for you to do, but you can choose to pay for it to have more capabilities. One of my friends has a paid account, and he is just exploring all kinds of possibilities, and he's actually converted part of the Harry Potter book 1 series, which was translated into Latin before. It had been translated into Latin before, but now he's actually taught the AI on the different pronunciation rules, since we don't have native speakers of Latin, but he's put in all these rules. And so now he can just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, record this passage in classical Latin pronunciation, and it spits it back out just like that. And it's crazy how accurate and how nicely sounding it is. And so, but you can ask for it to do some simple tasks. So for example, I'm going to share. So this is what I tried about 5 minutes ago, right? So I asked for it to create a 5-day lesson plan to teach students on how to order food at a Chinese restaurant. And this is what it spit out, like in a minute. And so as you can see, this could be a great tool to save time for teachers. And so we can ask for it to create a new chat, and let's just say, oh, generate a classroom activity. Sorry, I need to move my keyboard really quick. For a Chinese classroom for first day, get to know you activity. Generate a lesson plan. And the more information you provided, the better it gets. And so I'm going to send a message. So that's how long it took to generate a lesson plan. And so I need the activity to include Mandarin Chinese. So as you can see, now they have Mandarin stuff in there, right? They now have the Mandarin Chinese character. So you want to be very specific. You can look at what was generated and then you can ask for it to refine it. So it's a pretty powerful tool. You can ask for it to generate activities. You can ask for it to do different things if you like. So again, it's not going to go away. So I think we need to just try to, again, refine our thinking, kind of retool it so that we can come up with different ways of incorporating this into our classroom, because I think that's going to be to our benefit. Okay. Let me go ahead and go back. Now, I know there are just days when you're just overwhelmed with technology, right? Like that's how I feel sometimes. I'm sure that's how you feel today, because I feel like I just threw a ton of things at you. And again, I apologize. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, because I really think that there are a lot of great tools out there. And so if you're not comfortable with all these things, pick one thing. Just if you take one takeaway from this webinar, then I'm happy. You don't have to try to incorporate Goose Chase, Breakout EDU, AI, all these things all at once, right? Just take one, have one takeaway, and then really focus on that and see if you can build lots of activities. And then if you want to learn something new, because again, you want variety, right? And so definitely make sure that you're not overwhelmed. So, but pick one thing. But again, sometimes though, you want to have some non-technology activities and still incorporate language proficiency. And so for those of y'all who have attended my sessions at ACTFL or the regionals, you probably have seen this activity already, but it's Saksum Forfax Karta. And so I think from the picture, you know what the activity is. And so they have to pair up with some people, right? They have to pair up someone. Again, there could be uneven numbers in the classroom, so you can have groups of 3, right? And they need to speak in their target language, and so you practice with them. And I also believe in assigning gestures will help them understand things better. And so with my Latin ones, actually with all my Latin students this year, this is how I started the week. You know, crazy Mr. Lee, showing them how to do this. Day 1, since, you know, it's a great way for me to assess where they are and also introduce the Latin onesies to some new vocab words, right? And so, you know, you gesture Saksum Forfax Karta, Saksum Forfax Karta until they know what they are and they repeat. And so I show them how to play, right? So so to shoot, you go Saksum Forfax Karta, go. Saksum Forfax Karta, go. So you model for them, and that way they know the pace. And so they have to then go around the room and play this. And then they have to speak in the target language, right? And then best 2 out of 3, or however method you want to do, like, you know, best 3 out of 5 if you have a smaller class, or if you have a large class, you want to go quick, like whoever wins, just go, okay? But then the twist is that then the person who wins have to move on to challenge another person who also has won. Now, the person who didn't win then will become the fautores, the supporters that have to go cheer on their teammates. And so the idea is that eventually you're going to have 2 people, each with their own group of supporters cheering them on in the background. And so I want them to get excited about things. And so here's a video. And so that's what the junior school Latin onesies did the other day. And so, and I don't know if you heard, but someone said, I love the, and then it got cut off. But they really have fun, and it's a great way for them to get to know each other as well. I'm having to get used to kind of the background. I'm having to get used to this new school district because it's one high school, one junior school district. And so a lot of these students, they've known each other for years. They've been in the same class for years. So I'm the stranger. They are all friends with each other. And so they actually have to know me. And so if you want to do something different, certainly I encourage you to do that, but definitely know your audience as well when you plan lessons. And something else I did with my Latin classes this week is Monstrum Habet. And so in the target language, I introduced a vocabulary of different parts of the body, partes corporis, and then we practice vocabulary by using Quizlet and Gimkit, so they're familiar with them. And then I put them in individual, so they have individual tables. And so then I start with Monstrum Habet unum corpus. So it has one body, so they have to draw one body, as you can see from this picture. And then, you know, I add on to the monstrum, to the monster. And so, you know, it has quinque oculos, it has 3 eyes, right? And so then they build. And so this is a great building activity to start to kind of train the ears in hearing the target language. But then for the summative activity, then they have to create their own monstrum. They have to label the different parts using the target vocabulary. And then I have them film themselves describing the monstrum. So now they have to be the ones who will say Monstrum Habet, quinque oculos, Monstrum Habet unum corpus, and so on and so forth. And so it's again, a great way to engage the students, get them to be creative. All the monstra will be different. Like, as you can see, some people really are proud of their monstrum. Some people didn't want their pictures to be taken with the monstrum, but I took a picture of the monstrum anyway. But they do enjoy doing activities like this. So, and here are some other activities that at your own free time. Again, I've linked the, if you click on the presentation, I have videos to go with each of these, so you can kind of see what it's like. And if you have any questions, you can always, about how an activity is done, you can always reach out to me via email, get it, or if you want, you can text me. I'll put my number in the chat. Just do let me know who you are, so I don't just have this random number tell, you know, like, I have a question, I don't know who you are. So, but, you know, kind of think about always how to incorporate these activities in the classroom. How will they transform the learning experience for the students, right? Like the whole idea is that we want to get them excited, we want them to really get involved and fall in love with exploring different cultures and different world languages and having a different perspective on things. We don't want them to think about our courses as, OMG, it's just something I have to take in order to graduate, right? We want them to move on to more than just the 2 years of requirement or 1 year requirement or whatever the requirements are. We want them to learn different perspectives too. So Kape, okay, so sure. The game Kape, it is fun. So basically I give them a set of vocab words, and as a class, we come up with gestures. So it's kind of like a game of spoons. So for example, amo, when I say amo, the kids came up with this. For ambulo, which is Latin verb that means to walk, they have to gesture like this. And so basically give them a list of vocab words in the target language and assign gestures to them. And then I line them up. And so in the video, they're sitting on the floor outside with an object in front of them, but you can certainly line them up in the classroom as well. You can rotate from table to table, but the idea is that you have one object, and markers are great, or those styrofoam sticks that you can get, or straws even, are great. You don't want something, because what I've discovered is that sometimes they get really overboard and overly competitive. And so you don't want to have something that, you know, has sharp edges or can break easily, but something that's easy to grab. And so, but you set the object in between the two of them, and you call out the word, the vocab word in the target language, and they have to perform that gesture, right? And so you rotate, and then you surprise them. You know, every time they hear the word "kape," then they have to grab the object, and they keep their own score. So whichever person that, you know, grab the object wins. And so you go through several rotations. So sometimes I call the word "kape" after I cycle through all the words. Sometimes I call it 2 words in. So you always keep them on their toes, and then you always rotate. And so if someone has won every single round, if we've done 6 rounds, that means they have 6 points. And so then they get prizes and whatnot. And so those are thinking questions, so kind of think about that. Again, the whole idea is that we want them to become lifelong learners, right? We want them to appreciate new cultures, and be able to think differently. You know, we want them to be able to affect positive changes in the world that we live in right now. And that's so important, especially given everything that we're experiencing right now. We want, you know, them to have a better opportunity and a better world. And so I think being world language teachers, we have that ability to make that positive impact on our students, and we want to pay it forward and to have them pay it forward as well. And so I strongly encourage you to try to ignite, as we have a new school year, ignite their passion for world languages. And as part of my Act 4 spiel, so hopefully you guys are aware of Language Connects Foundation. It's a new initiative by Act 4. And so those are the 4 priority areas that they're really focusing on. And so please reach out to them. And speaking of Act 4, I really do hope that I will see many of you guys in Chicago, where we can hopefully reconnect or actually meet each other in person for realsies, because it'd be super nice to see everybody in person. And that is going to be in Chicago, November 17th and 19th. Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this with you. I have really enjoyed it. I appreciate the pleasure of your time.
Thank you so much. This is very inspiring and very informative. And I can't wait to try the new things I learned today. I'm taking notes, and yay, a lot of great ideas. Thank you a lot, William. We appreciate that.
Thank you. And again, I wish everyone a great beginning to the school year. Again, it's such a rewarding experience. And as you know, our job is to empower and really to inspire and really to show the kids that we care. So go out there and just share your love, right? Show them that they're cared for. That's our job, right? That's the most important thing that we can do, is just to love them all.
Yeah, thank you. And I also pasted the upcoming webinars in our series. And I included the link, but the link doesn't work now. But on my Facebook and also Twitter, I will have everything. All the registration links, and also the recording. We asked William's permission. The recording will be ready on the website. This website I'm posting again within a week. So William, are you okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. And if you need PD certificate, please put your name in email and a name in the chat so that I can send PD certificate for you. Yeah, it's a lot of learning for me. And I am so excited to try the new things you taught me today.
Well, thank you so much. Let me put my phone number in the chat. So that is my phone number if you need to text me a question or ask me questions. You can also reach me at my school email as well as my personal email.
Really, I'm really amazed at how you have all the pictures and recordings of student activities. Sometimes we are so engaged, so we're so into teaching, and we want to make sure the class go well and students have activities. We never record it, But I just realized if students see the videos and the activities they have done, it reminds them how much fun they have in class, and it really helps them to reflect on what they have done. Yeah, that's a really good habit.
It's true, and also, as a Latin teacher, and as a teacher of a less commonly taught language, it's really hard sometimes to try to, as you know, our survival is based on numbers. And so I have learned a long time ago that the more that we can do to share with the community what it is that's going on in our classrooms, the easier it is to try to build the program. And so, that's when I got really started to put everything out there. And so, the pictures I'm taking, the videos that I've kept, it's been part of that process. And, it's also part of the actual guidance, right? Like you want to build community, you want to make connections. And so I always try to send those out to the community so they can see what's happening in my classroom. And sometimes for example, with the Monstrum, I will, send it out in the newsletter via, and also Google Forms so people can vote. And so get, other students involved, get students in other language classes, or, get the community involved. And so, it's a great way to unite everybody. And that's what languages do, right? We unite people. So.
Yeah. Your class seems too fun, and I want to be in your class.
Thank you. Well, I try. You gotta keep them engaged, right? But I do hope, my goal is always for them to have fun, but also to learn a lot out of it. And so, again, some of these activities, I sometimes feel a little gimmicky, but I always try to come up with a way to incorporate them later so that it's not just a gimmick, that there is a point to everything that we're doing. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from our participants? All right. Yeah, I think we all learned a lot, and we all appreciate your webinar. Thank you very much, and let's enjoy our weekend.
Yes,
Thank you.
enjoy the weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.